supporters shared their views on abortion while talking to our very own Michael Shore in Michigan. Now, this was during a Trump rally, and the topic of exceptions for abortion bans came up. And unfortunately, hearing what they think about rape victims is pretty brutal, pretty disgusting. Here it is.
It's really sad when people can say, oh, I believe in abortion because what if my daughter gets raped? Well, there's less than 1% of the whole entire world that gets raped and gets pregnant. And nowadays, they're 12, 13, 14, 15 because they're dating a 17, 18, 19-year-old man and they get him pregnant and then they call that rape. But the real rape, somebody that's beaten and tortured and raped, every woman that I know that's ever been raped and heard of on TV, they kept their baby. I mean, for me, there's no word or excuse for
so there's no exception for abortion.
Let it be 2 weeks, let it be 32 months.
So incest or rape or incest?
Rape or incest, no.
Really disheartening to hear a woman specifically try to make the legitimate rape argument that men in the Republican Party, male religious zealots have been making for decades in this country. I mean, does she genuinely think that a 12-year-old girl can consent to sex with an 18-year-old man? Because that's essentially what she's saying there. She's essentially saying it's not really rape because these minors wanted it. And so they should suffer the consequences, including the pregnancy that they're now having to deal with. Wow. And by the way, obviously, the statistics she provided there, only 1% of people in the whole wide world get raped. What? Like based on what? Based on what? She just pulled it out of her ass. Just pulled it out of her ass.
Yeah, it's a peer-reviewed ass. So, yeah, no, I mean, her argument about the 12-year-olds is like so her argument is 12-year-olds are sluts?
Yeah, that's her argument.
Your argument?
That was her argument, yes.
Okay, and you think that these 12-year-olds should be raising children, presumably. Okay, so you think that too. Also, let's say that she's right about the 1%. She's not. It's not remotely true. In college, it's like 1 in 4 women are raped. So let's just be very clear about that.
Yep.
Let's say that it was 1%. She betrays, I think, a very common ignorance about large numbers. Do you know what 1% of the US population is? If it's way more than that. But if it was just 1%, I'm not a mathematician. It's a lot of people. It's legitimately a problem that in theory you'd want to stop. You wouldn't brush it aside. It's not true anyway, but then for her to then turn and say, and this is where she dispenses with the made up statistics and she goes purely into the world of anecdotal evidence, all the women I know who were raped in the real way, all the other, not those women who just lie about it or whatever, but like the ones who were tortured and raped, they all kept the baby. And so because the women who would feel comfortable confiding with that woman, which I'm assuming is a limited subset, because they kept the baby, you should have to keep the baby.
By the way,
they did, so the government should force you to.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have the option. No, it's a mishmash of conspiratorial thinking, of lack of interest in the topic.
Victim shaming,
believing that 12-year-olds are the same as 30-year-olds. She's probably a fan of Matt Walsh. There's just it's a melange of nonsense.
So did that 10-year-old girl who was raped repeatedly by a 27-year-old man ask for it? Did she ask for it? The one who had to travel out of state to get an abortion because her state of Ohio had already banned abortion? Did she ask for it?
It's the weirdest thing. It's like, stop the groomers, but if the groomers do have sex with them, then they probably wanted it at that point.
No, that is such a good point. That is such a good point. No, I mean, that's why every time I hear right-wingers accuse innocent people, including our educators, of being groomers, I think about the projection they're engaging in. Because it's that kind of commentary, it's that kind of content that we just watched that makes me think about the real predators in this country. Women who have been indoctrinated into thinking it makes sense to defame 12-year-old girls who are victims of statutory rape. okay, slut shaming them and denying them reproductive care. It's a woman who's saying this. Like, that's the thing that blows my mind. And I don't know for sure. I'm making a prediction here. I don't know if that woman has a daughter, but I guarantee you, if that woman had a 12-year-old daughter who became pregnant as a result of rape, she'd go wherever she needed to go to make sure that they took care of that situation. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Why do I say that? Because how many stories do we have to share of Republicans who want to ban abortion, and then we find out in their personal lives, they've pressured their mistresses to get abortions, they've pressured their wives to get abortions. I mean, they themselves have gotten abortions. Like, it's sick. It's sick that they've been brainwashed into thinking what they're saying makes sense and is somehow the more moral stance to have on this issue. And by the way, for the women, I don't believe her. I just don't. I don't believe the stories that she tells about her friends who have gotten raped and they've decided to keep their children or their babies. If they have, though, great. Because we should live in a country that allows women to make decisions, the best decisions for their lives and for their bodies. I would not begrudge any woman who made that decision.
Yeah.
That is an incredible decision to make. But it should be left to her to make that decision, not to the government.
Great.
All right, there's more, unfortunately. Let's hear from a man at this Trump rally.
I do believe, first of all, that there are good Christian adoption centers here in America, and if the mother's life is at risk, and even if the baby's is or isn't, that's not up to us to choose, that's up to God.
Great pro-life argument there. So if the pregnancy means that there's a good chance the woman would die from pregnancy-related complications, it's not up to us, it's up to God. It's up to my religious belief, right? Religious belief that might not be shared by others in this country.
Yeah.
It's up to God, it's up to God. Let the woman die because it was, God wanted it. God wanted that woman to die. I'm so pro-life. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, I've always, that's why a lot of Christians believe that we're wasting money by providing our soldiers with body armor. If God wants the soldiers to die, they're gonna die. Why are we trying to get in the way of God's will? It's nonsensical. And honestly, I don't know who that guy is. I don't care about that guy. And I also know that this way of thinking, this incredibly fatalistic way of thinking is not representative of most religious people, even Christians, even evangelical Christians. Nobody actually applies this to everything in that way. Well, then why do you care about the groomers? If God wants the kid to get groomed, then they'll get groomed. Like, why do you do anything? Why do you vote? If God wants the candidate to get to, no, you can apply it to literally anything. They notably do not. It's a dodge. It's a way of hiding behind a shield of fatalistic, passive religiosity that they don't actually believe and would never apply to other aspects of their life.
If you genuinely believe in small government, it shouldn't just apply to corporate greed. It should definitely apply to our personal lives and the decisions that we make about the most intimate parts of our lives. What we do with our bodies is number one on that list. The government should not have a say over whether or not a woman should carry a pregnancy to term. A pregnancy isn't like making popcorn in a microwave oven, okay? A pregnancy is a brutal 9-month process that culminates with an equally, if not more brutal, birthing process. And no one should be forced to go through that because of a one-size-fits-all approach and ideology by the government, okay?
Also a cost of millions of dollars over the course of decades of your life.
Great point. But there's all these wonderful adoption agencies, and yeah, there's nothing traumatic about going through all of that physically, going through all of that emotionally, and then knowing that there's a child that you've just given up who's out there, you have no idea what happened to that child. That's totally like a great way of dealing with this situation, right? Forcing women to do that.
Well, at the very least, you often see the rabid pro-life people spending half their day of advocacy standing outside of abortion clinics, hounding women to not get them to get abortions, and then half the time lobbying state government to fund orphanages more. That's often how they will spend their time. Also, by the way, super fast. Did you notice the shell game that he played there?
Yeah.
Where he was like, it's not up to us, it's up to God. He said us, but he's not interested in us. He believes it's not up to you. He does think it's up to him. He gets to decide what you do. There's no us, there's no community. There's the people who decide, and then there's those who don't get the choice. But it sounds much nicer. It seems more friendly and old fashioned to say that it's about us.
Okay.
Save your us.
Without sound, could we just go back to his video? We don't need to hear him again, please. God.
I'm already uncomfortable.
I just want to know where they buy the clothes. That's it. That's it. I know, I had to.
Amazon probably, honestly.
I've
Walmart,
never come across clothing like that anywhere. Like there has to be a special right-wing apparel shop.
Yeah, look, I get it.
Respect the game with the matching hat. I respect it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you commit to it. That's how matching works. I would do that. I just wouldn't do that for our country. But I'd do that with like Targaryen colors or something. I'd have a bunch of little dragons or something, and I'd match it with a hat. So I don't like the fact that he's trying to impose his mistaken religious beliefs on millions of other people, but I don't mind the clothing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it either. It's fun. We're gonna take a break.
You mind it. You mind.
I don't mind. Why would I mind it? I don't care.
Minds.
Why would I care? I don't care.
Wear it. Wear it if you don't mind so much.
Excuse me.
Can someone send in the shirt, please?
Excuse me. I'm a bit of a fashionista. Okay.
Okay.
People are saying. And
what if we find a 1950s vintage dress with the stars and bars on it?
I just I'm not interested.
You seem to mind.
I'm not interested. I don't mind. I'm not like offended by him wearing that. Anyway. I'm just amazed at like what people see and find appealing. That's all. I want to understand it better, like the psychology behind it. That's all.
Sure.
Anyway,
yeah.
It looks goofy. All right, let's take a break.